Yo, what's going on guys? Plunge here and welcome back to another video. So Godzilla vs King Kong is only a couple of weeks away from now. I think it's 2 weeks away. So I'm pretty hype about it. I'm gonna watch that film. I hope that, no one loses because I don't want King Kong to lose and I don't want Godzilla to lose. So I know what will happen now because of the trailers. They'll probably team up and then they'll beat Godzilla. So yeah, we're gonna watch theories about it. So this one is the film theory on why Godzilla would win on Godzilla vs Kong. So this video is made by the Film Theorists, the very popular channel. So the link's gonna be in the description down below. With that being said, let's go watch it.
Okay guys, you are never gonna believe this. I know Godzilla vs. Kong is coming out in a few weeks, but I managed to get myself an early copy of the movie. Or should I say,
Oh yeah, sure.
Bootleg
Sure.
copy that someone is willing to sell me on the internet.
Sure, that's always true. That always happens.
Huh, alright. Looks a little beat up. Thought the title was different. Maybe that was just an early draft. Anyway, let's check this thing out.
Oh yeah, I said that too. Godzilla vs King Kong. It's Kong. He's not a king yet.
Yeah, just odd choice. Feels a bit lo-fi, but maybe they were looking for something different?
Okay, drop it.
Or you just got scammed. That's the original Godzilla vs Kong.
Oh, this is the original Godzilla
Yep,
versus
that's the
King
original
Kong.
one.
Yep, okay.
You got tricked. Oh, look at that.
Gotta say, I don't hate it.
That's fun. It's not bad. Those films are very enjoyable.
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Film Theory, the show that's more fun than a barrel full of giant prehistoric ape-like cryptids. You know, it's been a tough couple of years for Legendary Pictures' big-budget MonsterVerse franchise. After
Yeah, I
audiences
guess you
got
could
so
say
annoyed
that.
at Godzilla not showing up for more than a few minutes of his own movie back in 2014, they paid him back by not showing up at all for his significantly more exciting sequel, King of the Monsters, in 2019. Boom! Get dunked on, Godzilla.
Yeah, they
The
need
only
to
thing
fix
that's
that
reliably
here.
able to take you
They
down
should
is
like
poor
show
box office
Godzilla
earnings.
versus
Fortunately for
Kong.
Godzilla and Company, though, the studio was already well into production on the next movie at that point. But then World Events shut down theaters, and now only by the grace of our corporate masters at AT&T and Warner Brothers can we finally see Godzilla vs. Kong the way any iconic summer blockbuster battle between two 400-foot monsters was meant to be watched, 2.5 inches high on our phones. This is a movie that's already raising a bunch of questions.
Unless you want to
Why
go
are
to
they
the
fighting?
theater,
When
which is
did
not
Kong
safe.
get so much bigger? Why didn't this happen years ago alongside Civil War and Batman v Superman? Side note, is this whole thing gonna get resolved by both of them knowing someone named Mothra? Mothra! Why did you
Save
Mothra! But we all know what the
Mothra.
big question is in these sorts of movies. Who is gonna win? Well, if you know the channel, you know that we're gonna do our darndest to answer this one early. And if you don't know the channel, consider subscribing for mind-blowing theories each and every week that'll make you look smart in front of all your friends. Now then, let's start answering our question by having a look at both of our competitors. According to the MonsterVerse canon, this incarnation of Godzilla is 393 feet tall, or about 120 meters, not
That's
counting
huge.
the additional 189 feet, or 57.6 meters of his tail.
Yeah, that's a
And
big
he
ass
weighs
tail,
in at
man.
approximately 99,634 tons.
Make that
making him
100,000. Just
unquestionably
eat a
the
couple
largest
more,
version
Godzilla.
of Godzilla ever depicted in
Eat
live
a couple
action.
more
By
meats and
contrast,
you'll reach the
Kong was only
100K.
104 feet tall, or 35 meters, when we last saw him in Kong Skull Island, which is pretty big, but only a fourth of Godzilla's size. However, it seems like he's gotten himself a lot bigger, considering that in the new movie's trailer, they stand next to each other on some aircraft carriers.
even-
and Kong
he's
is
even
at
taller.
Godzilla's eye level. if
He's
not
taller.
even
See? Yeah.
Taller. Man, looking at this,
He's
it just makes me
slightly
think the real
taller.
winner of this battle is any boat able to float while 200,000-ton creatures duke it out on the deck. Now, knowing these rough statistics, we can use science to see which creature is going to pack a bigger punch. Analyze what Godzilla's heat ray weapon does and doesn't destroy so we can see the temperature estimate. Look at overall differences between the mammalian brain and the reptile brain to see whose strategy is going to win. Except, there's one major problem with all of that. If I'm using science, well, science
It
says
doesn't-
that both these creatures would lose because
Yeah.
they can't possibly exist in the first place. You
Yeah,
know those
yeah.
fun-ruining laws
Yep,
of science that get in the way of,
physics.
say, explosions in space, or
But it's a
sound
movie.
in space, or literally
What else can you do?
everything to do with space. Giant
It has
monster
to
movies
break
tend
the
to
laws of
smack
physics.
head first into all those fun-ruining laws
Or else
of
it won't be
science,
fun.
mainly physics problems like the square cube law. That's the mathematical principle principle discovered by Galileo in 1638 that says that mass increases at a faster rate than size. Basically, as area squares, mass cubes. And this becomes a problem when you consider that the strength of a muscle or bone is roughly the function of its area, but weight is a function of volume. So let's say you double a monkey's height while keeping it the same shape. You wind up with 4 times the muscle power, moving 8 times the mass. That, as you might imagine, just isn't gonna work. An organism can only scale up a certain amount before all the other forces of physics and thermodynamics cause it to collapse in on itself. Neither Kong nor Godzilla would be able to grow to their respective sizes. If they existed at that size, gravity would
also they need like tons of food for that just to support themselves.
Organs off those bones. If their entire bodies were strong enough, they'd collapse into the earth itself, and even if you negated those issues, it is mathematically inconceivable that Kong would consume enough nutrients and water to sustain himself each and every day. So while I'd love to science my way into an answer for this one, the suspension of disbelief here is so extreme that you'd need like a wizard or a fairy or some level of literal magic to even approach working this out.
WandaVision is great, by the way.
That's exactly
I just finished it.
See, the Japanese kaiju genre, and this monsterverse in particular, has really leaned into the mishmash of atomic age sci-fi, gothic mad science, and straight up folklore to justify the hand-wavium it takes to get onto the stompy. Sure, most of the friends and foes of Godzilla, Gamera, and the rest are supposed to be dinosaurs, mutations, or aliens from outer space, but more than a few are also identified as legendary supernatural creatures, demons, spirits, even literal gods.
All the legends, the stories, they're true. They really were the first gods.
In fact, Godzilla gets his name in the original 1954 movie from local legend about a sea monster. So even in his earliest appearance, he's equal parts regional folklore and atomic monster. And that mix has persisted throughout all of his incarnations. The 1990s Japanese reboot series retconned Godzilla's origin to be a normal dinosaur who protected Japanese soldiers stationed on an island in World War II. But
I didn't know
a
that.
Karmic force punishing the men he saved for spending their lives in pursuit of capitalist greed.
All I know is just the embodiment of the nuke that was dropped on Japan. That's why they made Godzilla.
Yes, I know that.
That's all I know. I didn't know he was
along with my entire garrison.
he was changed to that.
But the dinosaur saved us all, and all of that prosperity I built is now being destroyed by the same dinosaur at this moment. And there's nothing I can do about it. Very ironic, don't you think?
This guy is not afraid to be blown away. You're gonna die, dude. Staring Godzilla. Oh!
Wow, that
he's dead.
is deep for a movie with a guy in a rubber dinosaur suit. Then, a decade later, the movie Godzilla, Mothra, and King Ghidorah, Giant Monsters All-Out Attacks.
Okay, that's a mouthful. Yeah, that's a mouthful of titles.
Godzilla, who was made of dead people. No, really, in that version, Godzilla's inhabited by the angry souls of everyone who was killed in the Pacific during World War II.
Dark.
And he's come to stomp Japan into rubble as punishment for them joining the war in the first place. Each and every time in these movies, sure, there is science
freaking
involved.
dark, bro.
Godzilla is the atomic monster after all. But more so, the stories are resolved via folklore. King Kong is largely the same way. In the original 1933 film, he's a god who demands sacrifices from Skull Island's indigenous people. And again, in the original King Kong vs. Godzilla from 1962...
Uncomfortable? Uncomfortable King Kong?
Wait, did he just say uncomfortable?
Yes!
Do you mean incomparable? Uncomfortable just makes it seem
I think
like
he
King
did
Kong
just
has a
say
mild
that.
case of jock itch. Anyway, time and again we
I think
see
it
these
was the
creatures
subtitle
being
that
just
was wrong.
as much religion and folklore as they are science and technology. And you can't have folklore without the lore bit. And yes, the Monsterverse makes sure to check that box too.
Yep.
Kong's God on the island. But the devils live below us.
And what are they called?
Skull crawlers.
Why?
Why?
Because it sounds
It
nice.
sounds neat.
Oh,
And
it sounds
this
neat.
is where we're going to be able to find our answer. In
Hey, it's
battles
Brie
between
Larson.
gods, it's not a question of science, it's a question of religion. And it's here that things really start to get weird.
おうさ、みんな仲良しが一番だよ。
Oh, alright, maybe not that weird. You see, Godzilla King of Monsters reveals that the Monster vs. Godzilla origin is tied very strongly to what's called a singular proto-civilization theory. Basically, the idea that prior to all of known history, there was an advanced human civilization with a shared language and culture that fell somehow, and whose scattered population subsequently founded all the different human societies that come later. These are your classic legends like Atlantis and the Tower of Babel. And the theory theory is meant to explain how societies that never met somehow have weird similarities, like why all the old-timey cultures were so into building pyramids, why the same monsters exist in the mythology of all corners of the earth, and why every culture somehow inexplicably loves Minecraft.
Looks Egyptian.
I mean, it's a fun game. Minecraft is a fun game.
It's way older.
Now, no legitimate historian really takes this theory seriously, but it's treated as real in this latest incarnation of the Monsterverse. And one of the hallmarks of this theory is that many ancient religions have a common theme of the new gods sweeping in to overthrow the old and ugly false gods that came before, like Zeus and the Olympians defeating the Titans, or the Viking gods against the Frost Giants. In fact, even some ancient versions of the Book of Genesis describe Noah's flood as happening to destroy half-human, half-angel giants called Nephilim, who tried to usurp the Hebrew god. These proto-civilization ideas also tend to come bundled with hollow earth theories, in which the old gods or losing civilization is then forced to retreat underground. Now, in the movies, the character Dr. Serizawa has a film theory of his own based on all of
Rest in
this.
peace,
It's not just a
Serizawa.
cute nickname. Godzilla and all his big buddies are literally the Titans, as in the original true gods of this fallen proto-civilization. And since he is a very serious scientist with a very, very silly theory in a Godzilla movie, it
That's a
turns out
pretty
to be
nice
exactly
presentation right there.
Not monsters. They are animals rising to reclaim a world that was once theirs.
But wait, if Godzilla is a Titan, and Titans are the old gods who generally lose and get driven underground in all the creation myths, and Kong is also a god by his people, and he lives on the surface, and his main, possibly only job on Skull Island was beating up lizards that come up from the underground, then Godzilla vs. Kong isn't just a title fight, it's a rematch. And the movie seems to back this up. The first
there's already like a
implies that
yeah,
this
that
fight
thing
has happened before. And the trailer for the new movie features a lot of talk about a war in the past tense.
The myths are real. There was a war.
Given everything that we just talked about, we know who won the battle the first time. Kong. He's the one on the surface. He's the one retrieving his former battle axe. In short, he has beaten Godzilla before. So
well,
Godzilla's coming
not
into this thing
technically
with a loss
him.
already on the board. Does that thereby mean that Kong is the favorite to win? Well, yeah, actually, it fits with
his other
mythology
kind
and it
defeated
fits
the other
narratively given the fact
Godzilla.
that Godzilla just had a massive victory in King of the Monsters. He is due for a loss. But I think our biggest proof for what's actually going to happen in this movie comes from the original King Kong vs. Godzilla from back in 1962. You see, friends, it's easy to overlook amidst all the urban destruction, but these sorts of crossover movies are like the hype house of cinema. You get a bunch of loud monsters together for a collab so that they can all get more popular. And this was
I like
that
that.
first
I
movie.
like that.
Back in 1962, Kong was the much more well-known and popular monster. Godzilla had only appeared in 2 movies before that, and number 2 hadn't been nearly as well received as the first.
Aw,
In fact,
poor-
King Kong vs.
poor
Godzilla
G-Man.
only happened because a super shady Hollywood producer borrowed an incomplete production concept called King Kong vs. Frankenstein, and then ran off to Japan to produce a different, unapproved version using Godzilla instead of Frank. By the time the studios back in the US who actually owned Kong caught wind of this and took him back, King Kong vs. Godzilla was already a gigantic worldwide hit, and Godzilla had become a household name, with the company Toho cranking out Godzilla sequels.
And they're not
it's never
stopping
really
anytime
stopped since.
soon.
But in the
They're
movie,
not
neither
stopping.
one actually loses. Godzilla kinda loses because he disappears and Kong is the one seen swimming off into the sunset, but neither one is officially a loser here. And you see, friends, that is where this whole thing starts coming together. You see, the real win for the studio here isn't about who wins, it's that neither monster loses.
Yeah, they need the money.
Losing implies that one fan base is right and one fan base is wrong. One set
Yeah,
of
you
merch
can't-
is cooler than
you
the
can't
other.
really
One
have that.
franchise
You can't
continues
really
on
have that.
successfully while the other kind of dies because it lost in the last one. And the way you avoid that situation is to split the difference. You introduce a third-party villain so
Mecha
the warring
Godzilla.
factions can team up, or just
Mecha.
render the verdict money enough that no one knows who actually won or lost. I mean, I was joking about it before, but Batman v Superman couldn't wait to tell you that Doomsday was the real big bad in that movie. And Superman doesn't die by Batman's hand, he does it to himself in a heroic sacrifice for mankind. Civil War has the twist that Zemo was manipulating them all the whole time, causing everyone to forget that the Civil War between Captain America and Iron Man didn't really have a clear-cut winner. Even Twilight denied its fans a decisive Team Edward versus Team Jacob showdown in favor of them teaming up against a new challenger, the evil Vampire Legion, which ended up being all a dream anyway. Best twist ending ever, I guess. And of course, the real villain of The Ring versus The Grudge turned out to be whoever decided
Wait,
we needed
this
The
movie
Ring versus
exists?
The Grudge. But
I should
seriously,
see
neither one
this.
wins out in that case either. They also join forces. This
What?
also would
That's
coincide with the lore for
insane.
the movies.
2
It's
horror
easy
movie
overlook,
characters
but
fighting.
Technically, both monsters are heroes. Kong protects our heroes on Skull Island. Godzilla protects the world from all the awakened titans. They are both good guys here. Heck, there's even this line about Godzilla in King of the Monsters.
He fought for us, died for us. He's not only proof that coexistence is possible, he is the key to it.
So one losing here just doesn't make a lot of sense. And that's why, ladies and gentlemen, here's my real prediction. In the trailer for
Okay,
Godzilla
let's
vs.
let's
Kong,
hear
you
this.
hear this line.
Godzilla's out there and he's hurting people and we don't know why.
Which implies that he's been behaving himself since last time, and now something weird is happening. Well, in traditional Godzilla movie lore, if Godzilla ain't acting like himself, it's because he's not himself. That's right, we have ourselves a new challenger in the ring, and his name is
Mechagodzilla.
Mechagodzilla is a giant robot duplicate of Godzilla that's appeared in multiple forms across multiple different eras of the franchise, almost always as either a remote-controlled or piloted fighting robot, and always as one of the real Godzilla's deadliest opponents. And while he's usually pretty hard to miss, being all hundreds of feet tall and shiny, in his first appearance in 1974's Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, he spends the first half of the film wearing fake skin to disguise himself as the real
Where do you
thing.
get fake
So
skin
could it
like
be
that?
in some, or
That
even
looks
all
like
of the
Godzilla.
scenes that we've seen in the trailer thus far, we're getting misdirected, and Kong is actually fighting a giant robot wearing a Godzilla suit? Well, a lot of eagle-eyed monster fans have noticed some tiny spots in the trailer. Notice the Godzilla-shaped creature on the computer monitor, but definitely a robot back there. And this head in the building rubble, where they think they can see
that's
Godzilla's
definitely
mechanical doppelganger
Mechagodzilla.
hiding in plain sight. And while we haven't seen giant mecha in the MonsterVerse yet, we have seen both Monarch and Alan Jonah, the eco-terrorist baddie throughout the MonsterVerse, collecting Titan body parts as plot points. Monarch's secret base had a Muto skull built into its centerpiece, and a post-credit scene in King of the Monsters featured Jonah collecting King Ghidorah's severed head. Why would that matter? Well, recently unembargoed set reports have described that head as being a prop in the new film, but now, quote, fused with technology. And historically, both Mechaghidorah
They're
and
gonna
Mechagodzilla
make
have
that
been
the head
depicted
of the
as
Mechagodzilla.
human-piloted cyborgs built out of the bodies of deceased kaiju. This would allow us to see Kong battle a Godzilla, team up with the real Godzilla, and leave both of these monster heroes as winners to continue their franchises as victors. Now that is what
I don't know if I buy
so
into
there you
that
have it,
theory.
folks. Kong and Godzilla will meet, and you will see the monkey take down the lizard, but not exactly in the way you thought. And maybe, if we're right, that means you'll also see Mecha Kong too? Alright, maybe not. That one's just
Meh.
silly. But hey, that's
Nah,
just
yeah,
a
that's too
theory.
much.
A film theory. And remember to
Bravo.
press that subscribe button, my
Bravo.
friends. Like I said before, this is the channel.
Okay guys, so that was it for the film theory of why Godzilla would win, I guess. The title's a little bit like clickbait. It didn't really explain why Godzilla would win. But I don't think I buy into his theory that Kong is currently fighting a fake version of Godzilla, you know, Mechagodzilla. I think what's happening is they're really fighting. You know, they want to give the fans what they want. They're fighting, and then all of a sudden they see Mechagodzilla attacking them both. So they both team up to defeat Mechagodzilla, I should say. And yeah, he's right though. You can't really have a winner and a loser in these types of videos, I mean movies, because like we see in Civil War and Batman v Superman, you know, if you chose someone to win, the fan base would be mad at you, and you just can't afford that. So what happens in these types of movies, the versus type of movies like Civil War and Batman v Superman, is they would fight in the middle of the movie, and then at the end there would be a bigger bad guy, like controlling everything, like what happened in Civil War with Baron Zemo, what happened in Batman v Superman with Doomsday. You know, we want to give the fans what they want, but you can't really have a loser, because that would, you know, that would make the fans angry, and you want the fans. The fans are what's giving you money, so you can't have that. I agree with him with that, but the theory of Mechagodzilla changing to look like the real Godzilla, I don't think I buy into that, because I think he's just acting weird, because he's protecting the humans. He's the protector of the humans, sorta. He's like an anti-hero. You know, he's not really saving the humans. He's just doing things that saves humans. So I think he's acting weird because, you know, he does he does all of these things for the humans. He's protected them from the Mutos, from King Ghidorah, which, you know, the humans awoken, but that's not his problem. So I think he's acting weird because all of a sudden, why are you building a mechanized robot that looks like me? I protected you. That's why he's pissed. That's why he's attacking people. He's searching for that Mechagodzilla. And I think also the reason why he's pissed off is because I think they used the head of King Ghidorah. And you know, King Ghidorah and Godzilla has a past. They're rivals, and that's why he's more pissed. I think that's what would happen in the movie. In the beginning of the movie, we would have the build-up. At the middle of the movie, we will have the Kong versus Godzilla fight, but no one would win. And then at the end of the movie, at the climax, we would see Godzilla and Kong team up together to beat Mechagodzilla. And yeah, that's my theory so far. I don't know what will happen after that. Maybe they will go their separate ways as both the alpha. I know you can't really have two alphas, but you know, they're alpha animals anyways. I think they'll just agree to go their separate ways. I'll be the alpha of the Skull Island, and then they'll be the alpha of the rest, and then they'll just go their separate ways. But I don't know, maybe that's just my theory. I have a strong feeling that would happen in the movie. Okay, so if you guys enjoyed content so far, make sure to hit like, subscribe, click the notification bell down there so you can get notifications when daily uploads. And of course, follow our Instagram page to post more personal stuff there, like pictures, videos. Make sure follow is going to be linked in the description down below. And again, I can't thank you guys enough for subscribing, for watching, for liking and commenting our videos. Thank you to the fans, to the people who are watching our videos. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. And also, I'm going to put a picture over here that shows how many % of you guys are not subscribed. So subscribe, it's going to help us out a lot. And that's it. Road to 1,000 subscribers. And in case I don't see ya, good afternoon, good evening, good night.